Hello and welcome to Asake Online. My name is Nonhlanhla Mabigwa, and today we are going to be talking about gendered online violence, which is a program that is being brought to you by the Center of Innovation and Technology together with MISA Zimbabwe, the Media Institute of Southern Africa, Zimbabwe. Today, I'm going to be with three other guests, and the first guest that I have for you today is Councillor Sikhululekile Moyo, affectionately known as Councillor Sikhu, who is the councillor for Bulawayo's Ward 17, a gender champion, actually an award-winning gender champion. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Salubonani balaleli.
And on my right here is Donna N. She's a media personality, an award-winning presenter, actor, and also a brand ambassador. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you so much.
And on my far right there is Lizwe Jamela, who is a human rights lawyer. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Nonhlanhla. And also, I'm not going to be left out in the award-winning human rights lawyer as well.
Yes, thank you so much for that. So yeah, it looks like I have great people here with me, and I hope soon I'll also be an award-winning journalist. So as I said earlier on, that today we're talking about gendered online violence. You know, we've seen women being attacked, you know, insulted, called names and all that online because they are women, and, you know, in many cases. And today we're going to be delving deeper into that to say, how are women being abused online, and also to understand the impact and effect of this online abuse, and as well as the consequences, because it is not just a bad thing, but it is also a crime. And with that, my first question to Lizwe Jamela will be, what is the definition of gendered online violence in terms of our law?
Thank you very much, Nonhlanhla. Gendered violence, we are not talking about things that are very new. We're not talking about a new crime called gendered or online crime. We are simply talking about crimes that have always been there, even before the advent of technology and computers. Now they're just being facilitated, or the medium of committing those crimes has become electronic, so to speak. So generally, when we are now talking about online violence, if we're talking about violence, someone might be wondering, how can someone be violent while they are actually online? Because violence in its definition is not only limited to physical violence, where someone grabs you, who is in the pants. But online violence is any type of abuse or a violation of another person that happens on an internet or via a communication technology platform. So it can take place through any online platform, commonly referred to these days like what we say is social media. Singabe sikhuluma ngokuthethiswa via WhatsApp, kumbe ukuthethiswa nje nge-SMS efonini yakho, kumbe ukuthethiswa maybe via ile yayithiwa yi-Twitter le sisithi X khathesi, or Instagram and so forth. So, and that term that is commonly used khathesi nxa sikhangelane le online violence, sabe sikhangele le term normally which is used as cyber violence or cyber crimes. So it's therefore online behavior that constitutes or leads to harm against a person. It could be psychological harm, it could be emotional harm, it could be financial harm, and it can also get to be physical harm, because sometimes what starts online as a virtual insult or violence can then even cascade to a physical form of violence, and someone can even suffer harm. And when we're talking about an individual, we also, sometimes it can target an individual, or sometimes it can target a group of individuals or a certain class of individuals. For instance, in the context of what we are discussing about, it can simply target women who are vocal, maybe on those social media online. It can target women in politics, for instance, to try to intimidate them and shut them up. It can also target maybe female journalists, because maybe as an aspiring award-winning journalist, you may be going on to be exposing things as a journalist for people to understand what is happening in societies. Someone may not be happy with the work that you are doing, and to intimidate you or to try to silence you, they may resort to bullying you online. They may decide to expose intimate maybe images of yourself. They may want to expose private information about you in a way to try to intimidate you and silence you. So it varies really. But at the end of the day, it's unwarranted or unwanted actions that may include insulting someone, stalking someone, bullying someone, just meant to make them feel uncomfortable. And also of late, we have seen a lot of sharing or publication of intimate messages or images that could have maybe been obtained. Abantu maybe bejola kuhle umjolo usachaza. Someone gets to hold pictures omunye, then when things go wrong, then they start wanting to post and to shame someone. So those are some of the forms that I can give as examples. But at the end of the day, we should understand that all these activities in terms of the law are unlawful activities that can find someone being arrested and even facing music in terms of our criminal justice as well as the civil justice.
Well, thank you so much for that, Mr. Jamila. Now, ngiyamuzwa uJamila yakhuluma, it's still something esithi ngumthetho. But to bring it home, I want to bring umama into the conversation. 20 years of experience, 20 years and more in politics. How have you and other female politicians been abused online?
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. I-growth of information and communication technologies, ICT and social networking sites have generated new opportunities for violence. Ngizanika umzekeliso ngami. Ngibe ku politics since 99. Ngaba khona ukuthi ngibe ku position of power 2018. Kube le COVID ngo 2019 2020. Then kwenzakala ukuthi in my ward kwaba le company eyathola i-lease ku council i-Howlin Quarry Mine. I-ward yami has got 3 quarry mines. So ngithe ngingenele kuba ngukhansela, I was very new. Ngingakabi kwazi ukuthi ama processes of council, how do they operate and kwenzakalani kwaphanga kwaba le COVID nje kwasivalela kancane into eziningi ukuthi nguzwisise masinyane. Kwenzakala ukuthi during COVID-19 nga-introduced to Howlin Quarry Mine kwathiwa ebuya le paperwork yakhe iphelele ikwanile ukuthi usezosebenzela ewadini. And that was COVID-19. We were not allowed to call meetings. So kwangavuma ukuthi mbizele abantu ehholo kumbe we gather because there was COVID. So ngabiza abantu ngama groupings amancane ngaba inform ukuthi so kule development enje ngabanikeza i-information ukuthi kulento enje. Kwaba kuhle kwaba njeyana nga-introducer waqalisa ukusebenza ngoba vele his paperwork was ready from Ministry of Mines, Council, everything was proper. Waqalisa ukusebenza. So kubuya 2021 2022 sesilanda ukuya kuma elections ka 2023. Many that contested me in 2023 ba generate ukuthi ukhansela uletha ama-China ewadini, ukhansela was given money, uyakhelwa indlu eMahachula, uthengelwa imota, all the deformation of character. The sad story about it, konke lokhu kuyakhulunywa, bakukhuluma bakufaka ku WhatsApp. I-online esebenzayo mostly kum-community yami because there is peri-urban kulamakhaya, so i-WhatsApp more effective yesisebenzisayo. Silama groups achiyeneyo angafika 15. Alabantu amanye 900 400 whatever. Kupostwe kuma groups ukhansela uthengele imota, kuma meetings kukhulunywa ukhansela is corrupt. And khonapha sesilungiselise sesiya ku 2023 kuma elections. The sad thing, in media houses, they run with the story, iphume kuma newspaper, iphume everywhere. Yeah, indlela imine liyani yabuya ngayo is a bit corrupt to councillors. There were some deals happening. Iyahamba information. And khonapha i-negative information, unverified information. And mina khathesi ukuthi ngikhulume ukuthi akusikho konke lokho okuyizinto okukhulunywayo. Kukhulunywa ngobaba abafuna ukuba ngukhansela. No one will listen to you. Because in politics, ungazibona usuzi-explainer. It's a bit difficult. You need to be, kube nguwe okhulumayo into ukuthi kube le. So ngabe tholakala sengi-explainer here and there, ngi-explainer here and there. Ukuthi ngi-keep information liyana khathesi singenile la entweni eziningi. These days there's a digital footprint kulabo Google. Ukuthi uyathi ugoogle laphana ibizo lika Sikhululekile Moyo, uzathola ukuthi uSikhululekile Moyo kulama stories of corruption, stories of what. Ngubani ozakukhipha khona cannot for people to understand. And it got worse sesiku 2023. So kule candidate selection. My party president by then being Chamisa. Disqualify ukuthi ngibe candidate because I'm corrupt. Because umuntu ayefuna ukuba i-candidate wayedinga into ezangcolisa ukuthi ngingabi khona ku-race. Wabe automatically in, or whoever other men that wanted to be inside. So kuba nzima njalo kuba buhlungu because there's no support structure. I have no one to tell ukuthi this thing is difficult. Ngizazi explainer ngithini ukukhipha into esithethwe ngama media houses bebhizi bekhuluma lobo sukhuluma ngani second information yokuzini protector. So konke khona lokho kuba nzima kakhulu ngoba ngaphosa ngakehluleka lokuba i-candidate because of that information, i-deformation of character. So it's a bit difficult. Ngiyazikhangela ukuthi mina ngikhuluma ngobulawayo etown. What more ngangikhansela wayesecholocho automatically ngangasoze ngicontest because ngangizasithatha ngaphi strength sokuthi ngisukume ngime. Abantu sebebhode batshelwa ukuthi umuntu lo corrupt kwaphuma kuma newspaper ukuthi ukhansela wenze lokho lalokho yana because of a man ofuna iposition. And ngubani okhona for me as a woman. Ngilama challenges ukuthi firstly financially angikwanisi ukucampaign proper campaign. Kodwa sokubuya lezinye izinto ezincedisa ukuthi kunithwalise nzima ukucampaign. Mina from being a councillor 2018 to 2023 ngangile less campaign because abantu bebengazi, knowing the good work that I've been doing, but no one will be producing what I've been doing in the world. What is coming out is what they are being told ukuthi ucouncillor waletha lokho kwenza so who do I tell? And in media iyahamba khathesi everyone will be knowing a wrong thing. Kuyakhitshwa ngubani njani. Ngingaphuma ku politics, I want to ukuthi ngiye phambili kuma greener pastures. Engihamba khona bagugula bathola izitori ezingekho right ngami. It's all social media, it's all online. Ngingaphi mina. And abanye omama abakukhangeleyo bembala daily ngiforward kuma WhatsApp, uforward 6 months every day kule story about you. Esibi. That's how bad it is.
Well, quite sad, and also to reflect as well on what it means for women in the rural part of our country when there's such information doing rounds. And earlier on, when I introduced her, I said she's affectionately known as Councillor School. Donna. Abantu bayasithanda nxa siku media, so bekhuluma ngathi and everything. But the truth is, we are being abused online.
Yes.
How have you and other media personalities, socialites, brand ambassadors been abused online?
Yes, I don't even know where to start because it's a long one. And from situations, first, let me start off with this. From situations of being sent images of someone sending their naked pictures, and then all of a sudden, I'm online, and I'm like, what is happening? Situations of stalking, and situations of just someone deciding to just comment on my post negatively, just someone to just pull you down for the purposes, why are you wearing this? Why is this on your video? There's also situations, I think one recently, I just decided, but I decided, you know what, let me just delete this guy, I think in like maybe 3 years back. And then he decides to just post, I'm pushing a brand online, and then they just decide to push rumors of a relationship that I supposedly was engaged in. Can you imagine? Who's gonna give you the platform to explain yourself? And then it reaches the same level of attraction or the noise that it initially attracted Iqalisa iruma yakho. Yeah, but it's gone. To someone else who doesn't have maybe let that udona any responder to this thing. Yeah, bona indahlala la ekhanda ukuthi udona any ukuthi. And that's it. And also okato kunya kono kung counselors kuti a digital footprint. It's there. There have been instances as well whereby I've been dragged to my online stories, some blogs, without anyone asking for my comment. But they won't say Donna Sizwe Gutwan, what's the side of the story? No, so humble. That's it. And that's an image that is left on you. Looking at other media personalities, you know, it's like sometimes it feels like it's a crime for you to be a bandui, to say, okay, fine, I'm in the media space, I am an outspoken individual, this is me posting my life. It's my private space sometimes. And then people decide to come to my page. And then they're going to try and find something to pick apart. So it's a really but one of the major challenges that we have is that we have normalized bullying. We have normalized this person is 8. We are reposting these things, being dragged online. So it's a normal thing. But those things are very detrimental at the end of the day.
Yeah, so we entertainment. This is what we do. You know, we've seen like the recent case, women and men exposed the WhatsApp groups and all that. And at times people will be like, you're public figures, and you're saying at times it's actually your private space. And what touches me, Donna, is that at times it's not the abuse that we see, Tina, when people are insulting counselors, schools, sending information, but at times it's what they send to you as well in private, like the naked pictures and all that. So that's quite sad. But Jamela, is this all there is to it? To what extent does this violence get to?
Ama sad realities on the situation. You realize there is more out there, and it's quite sad. But mina speaking especially on the line of umthetho, I don't understand why people have made it a profession to create, because now that I'm creating content, where you create content for purpose of social media through misinformation, disinformation, or just false narratives. Because once you do that, then consciously you should understand that you are committing a crime, like I said earlier on. For instance, I can give an example in terms of our law that we will normally refer to, the 2022 Cyber and Data Protection Act. So it has a number of criminal acts that are cited there under section 164. So it's 164, 164A, B, C, up to E. That section actually try to define and try to cater for a number of activities or a number of behavior that is classified as the online violence. So you find that, for instance, I can just say, for instance, section 164B that I was talking about, it creates a crime which says any person who unlawfully and intentionally by means of a computer or information system generates and sends any data, message to another person, or posts or on any material whatsoever, on any electronic medium, accessible by any person with the intention to coerce, to intimidate, to harass, to threaten, to bully, to cause substantial emotional distress, or to degrade, to humiliate, or to demean the person of another, or to encourage a person to face maybe to encourage a person to even end their life, because sometimes someone can encourage someone to even harm themselves. This is an offense, Nonhlanhla. So as you could tell, I was just mentioning a lot of things that will fall within the purview of what the councillor was going through, as well as what Donna was actually also going through. And what is the penalty? Someone may be asking, so what is the penalty there? So the penalty is a fine of not exceeding level 10. And when we're talking about a fine not exceeding level 10, we're talking about a fine of $700. That is the maximum, or imprisonment not exceeding 10 years. So that is an offense that is there in terms of the law. There is then maybe another question in terms of how then that law is implemented on the ground. The problem then with our criminal justice system, it relies on issues to do with you have to have evidence. Mm-hmm. And now when you're looking at cyber crimes, sometimes people assume fake identities. Mm-hmm. How then do you go to the police and say, so and so generated this information when they're using some whatever.com name? Or sometimes they use what they call parody accounts, if it's on Twitter or even on Facebook. It's an account where umuntu uyabesebenzisa amabizo vele ukuthi you can't then identify ukuthi who is behind this post. Sometimes you may know ukuthi ngubani, or even bloggers, like Donna was talking about bloggers. A blogger may just assume a name that is not even known. They start writing about you. They start saying a lot of things about you. But then the problem then when you want to enforce these laws, the main challenge you may find in identification of the person who is behind these parody accounts, this person who is behind generating such information. Sometimes then the persons who end up being on the receiving end, or who end up getting the receiving end of the law, which is easier, is a person then who forwards in a group. Say for instance in a group or WhatsApp group, someone may forward that message. But also forwarding sometimes is got sometimes you forward because your mind really when now forward maybe you are just even malicious. You see this message, instead of just deleting it and even also being concerned about the person who is being denigrated, you want to forward it so that it reaches as many people as possible, so that when she's moving around, they won't even, sometimes they won't even give you like we're saying, they won't even give you an opportunity to explain. From a distance, and you just see the behaviors and body language. They don't want to associate you with you anymore, especially when then you are in politics where you have to be dealing with people, and all of a sudden you walk in a room and people start walking out simply because they already believe what is there. And in most cases now, what is said, she mentioned some of these then false narratives find themselves in the main media channels like your newspapers and everything. Sikhula thina sakhula kuthiwa into ngabona kuthiwa ibalwe ku newspaper kumbe iphume ku radio. Yini Donna lapha kuma radio. Into ngathiwa iphume ku radio is the truth. Trust kuzule ku radio, that becomes the gospel truth. Yeah. So it becomes very difficult for the victim when the whole community is heard it from the radio, for instance, or sikubalile ku newspaper. The truthfulness of it, you have a very mammoth task then to talk about that. But anyway, also the question someone may be asking, so there's a criminal justice system. I also mentioned about the civil justice system. Unfortunately, the criminal justice system may not be able to compensate you. I talked about a fine of level 10, which is $700. That $700 is not given to you because your person has been put to such a that
was traumatized.
Exactly, not that. That $700 is paid to the state.
Wow.
You then have to go through issuing summons and go through the civil process where then you are suing someone to get compensated. But even no matter how much you are paid, councillor, the pain that I could see you as you were explaining and narrating, I don't think that will go away. And Google will not wake up one day and delete those posts because you have been paid. So sometimes some of this harm is so irreparable. That is the problem with the subject that we're talking about. It's very sad because it gets to be a digital imprint that sometimes even abazukulu bakho bayabuya belokho bekuthole kunjalo. And it's very, very sad.
Yeah. There you have it, guys. If you're just joining us, I'm Nonhlanhla Mapigwa, and I'm sitting here with Councillors Khulekile Moyo, together with Donna and Lizwe Jamela, speaking about gendered online violence. And this is a program that is brought to you by SITE together with MISA Zimbabwe. Councillor, Jamela uthe he saw the pain when you were speaking. Maybe try and explain to us what gendered online violence does to you and other politicians, psychologically and mentally.
Maybe besides being a woman and a mother, I have children. I have girls. They no longer like anything to do with public because they've seen it and they are reading it every day in the WhatsApp and their own other online publications. So the challenge is, as a woman, I think the reason why I'm speaking out is because we want to fight that. Most women tend to shy away from ama positions. Bese saba khona lokhu ukuthi ngizayumilate, then what? Ngizakuba ngaphi? If kungayisi ukuthi I'm strong, mangiza give up ngithi angisa contest 2023, but I said to myself, I fought, I cried, I did a lot of things. Ngifuna ukujustify ukuthi abantu kabazwisise, especially leadership, because I was being sidelined. Disqualify like corruption that I did not do because of information. But you know, we've been reading in papers, we've been reading where to take away that. Up to that, candidate Chayami, you see at stake, misinformation. Honestly, I think Nangila Jamele Kuluma with the laws. Then where do I come in? So kumele ngibathatha abantu laba babenza that misinformation ngiye police, but still kuzaphuma njani kimi because I remember Councillors Khulekile Moyo, umama kaLethi ovele sethanishiwe, ugogo le 90 years usephumula, akasoza thola isikhathi sokuthi usikhruso wababophisa sokwakhitshwa lokhana, kuzaphuma ngaphi? Kuzahamba ku Google kuye ukuthi remove the real information is this one.
Yeah, quite sad situation right there. Donna, what is the impact of gendered online violence?
I think from the top of my head, I'll just go to the anxiety that one, has to deal with. I'm so grateful that nowadays we are normalizing talking about depression and its effects. Because maybe back in the day, you can tell someone, this thing is affecting me. When someone just decides to come and attack me in this manner. And I've also seen some other media personalities, I wonder what's going through their mind, what they're going through in this particular season of their life. But that thing, it really gives you this anxiety, which you now even fear coming out anymore. You fear creating your next content, your next post, because you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go this avenue once again, and then I'm going to get this negative attention. And as media personalities and some, we make it a lifestyle that the content that we create, that's also how we are making money nowadays.
Very true.
Right? Now, if a brand is going to see all this negative attention around you, around people, I'm pushing, buy this jacket, it's nice. And then someone is saying all these nonsensical things at the same time. For what purpose, you don't know. So that thing really affects you. Your image, it affects you. It gives you so much anxiety that you fear, even as a woman, we have got these platforms that now we can use to share more about what we do, to share about what this is us. Now we have a voice. We're using all these platforms. You're not afraid to advocate anymore because the anxiety is just so much. Because someone just decides,
now, akhona nawo ama-anxiety, anxiety, fear, akhona yini ama-support systems in political parties and elsewhere that are there ukuthi, you know, if you're being abused online, come to us, we're going to help you.
Ukubeka kahle, there is a huge gap. Now I'm speaking on leadership yayingasela trust lami by then ukuthi ngi-contest aluba bekule support structure bekuzaba lo muntu engikwanisa ukuyamtshela to understand my side, but no one will ask me ukuthi what happened, what is this story about. People will say Screw, have done this. They rely on what is there. No one will ask you anything. So politically there's no support structure. Maybe kuma CSOs, women organization, because that's where we go when we are frustrated. Singathola ukuthi into sezisithwalisa nzima ngiyakwanisa ukubafonela ngibatshele, maybe we have a workshop, we discuss our problems like abo wild, wecos, wipsu, those are the platforms esikwanisa ukuthi siye share ama challenges that we have. But lako asikaze sithola ama solutions because I'm still myself. If I want to contest 2028, still people have something about me. When you touch on Google, there's something about Isikhululekile Moya. You understand? So there's a challenge. And there are young people that are inspired by me. Bazwe njani. Nxa ndokho ngizama ukuhamba ngizi-explain.
Now, Jamela, human rights. What have you been doing, or that you've seen other human rights organizations doing with regard to the issue of gendered online violence?
Thanks. I think ngingakaphenduli on that one. Ababukeleyo bengabe bebuza ukuthi this this violence that happens online is just everyone can be subjected to it. I think I need to explain why we call it gendered, so that people understand ukuthi nxa sisithi gendered online violence, and also mainly speaking about the plight of women and girls. How is it different from maybe a boy or a man being slandered online? So generally what happens when we're talking about online violence, it actually invokes gender stereotypes that are already there, stereotypes and norms. If a man were to be labeled ukuthi maybe uyajola lamakhosikazi amaningi lamankazana amaningi and everything, our society already does not even like frown upon such practices.
Not even.
It doesn't. It celebrates a man who goes around having lots of women. But for an aspiring counselor or an aspiring legislator, for instance, if someone starts to slander you and call you, they normally use the H word, the Shona H word, which I don't even want to repeat it here, but which simply maybe wants to depict a woman as a person of loose morals when it comes to sexual partners and sexual activity. The same thing that is celebrated in men's spheres will take a woman in a very, very bad light with our society. So once a woman is depicted in that light, I think you agree with me ukuthi singamisa ubaba lapha nxa becampaigna as politicians ukuthiwa yena indaba zakhe eziphunyuleyo ukuthi ulamankazana amaningi, then sokuthiwa umama lo sleeps around with a lot of men. Obviously the community will frown upon the woman because those are stereotyping and norms that are already in our society. So when then you are subjected to online violence as a woman, the effects are definitely different from the effects that a man would suffer, because a man usually, in terms of, we have what is called this patriarchal society, where men usually have got advantages in a lot of spheres over men. But now it's high time we understand that women and men are just equal human beings who has got emotions just like any other person. We feel pain the same way. And when it comes to opportunities, in terms of our constitution, section 56 is very clear that men and women are supposed to also take up equal opportunities just like men. But then when you then take a group that is already disadvantaged by the societal norms and you subject them to the same maybe measure, even on social media platforms and this cybercrime, you tend to see that women then are more on the receiving end than men. So that's why we're talking about gendered online media, and we're focusing our attention on women and girls. Because I know someone was going to be saying, but what are they? Why are they just mainly speaking out with women journalists, a female journalist or female politicians, but also because other journalists also suffer the same. But I want to emphasize that the consequences of cyberbullying or online violence is different when one looks at genders. And also one weapon that is used especially against women is issues of threatening of sexual violence. In sexual violence, usually most victims of sexual violence, we know that in terms of empirical data, in terms of researches, it also goes to show that women tend to be more to be on the more when it comes to victims of sexual violence, women and girls. So that's why then, even if it goes on, because we are simply taking what is already happening in the society, even when we're not talking about digital violence, the violence that is already happening generally in society, you find that women are on the receiving end. Then social media simply depicts what is already just happening. So that's why we want to emphasize this issue of gendered online violence, so that people understand why we put more emphasis on that. I speak that as a man, and so that people actually understand, because when it's coming actually from another woman, people may say, sebekalisile mama, complainer, you know. But as a man, I understand, and that's why I was saying I can feel the pain. I can tell when Donna is explaining what is going on, and I know with my counterparts, men, in terms of what we celebrate out there on social media, someone may not see anything wrong with the posting of nude images, but imagine, Donna, like we were saying, you're opening your phone and someone has just decided to do that, and they think it's fun when it's actually not even fun. Then coming back to your issue in terms of what human rights organizations are doing, I think she had already mentioned some of the human rights organizations that are there to support women, women in politics, and to support women in general. I wouldn't speak in terms of names, but there are organizations out there that can assist where, in terms of what I was talking about, even issues to do with legal interventions. There are also legal organizations that deal with legal issues that specifically deal with women. So women should not feel like they are defeated and they cannot do anything. Even to be assisted as far as even filing reports at the police station, the support system is there in terms of the human rights organizations that are there. The law is there to protect women as well. So that is the starting point. So once women should not simply be silent and suffer in silence and just get back into their cocoons and say, maybe we are defeated, vele after all, vele ngaenzani. But what I should do is to encourage women to say, no, there's something that you can actually do. Reach out, speak out. If what happened to you is taken head on, someone gets to court and they're convicted, it may send a message out there. You know, in as much as there's also a narrative that will be saying a counselor school did this, the media can also pick up on the issue that on the arrest as well and on the trial processes as well. If you do a civil suit, the media will pick it up as well and report on the damages issues and the compensation that the court may actually then grant you. So let's not just say, I know, maybe it doesn't work. Let's test the systems. We rather give narratives to say, I tried, I went to the police did not take up my report, they did not take me seriously. I went to court, the court also did not even take me seriously, and they thought maybe, and so that at least we can document these things, and we have a narrative that is supported by evidence to say, these are the steps that I took up. And as I said, I think human rights organizations are out there. I wouldn't want to be citing them by name, that will amount to me maybe advertising for them. But a site I know you know, lama organization than elisebenza lawo, where if people come to you, you can refer them, give them details so that they can actually get the assistance that they really need. Even government organizations as well. I believe there there's the legal, that one I can actually mention because it's a public entity, where the legal aid directorate, they can assist in terms of legal issues. If you step there and check with them, you may find some of the issues that they are waiting for are the issues that are affecting our mothers and our sisters and our daughters.
Thank you so much, Jamila. And of course, Mr. Zimbabwe, in partnership with SITE, are having this podcast so that we share information out there for online users to know what gendered online violence is, its impact, its effects, and the consequences as well. So I hope that we'll be sharing and inviting others as well to join in and listen in this conversation so that they also learn more. Now, Councillor, earlier on, you spoke about Uti. In your case, the perpetrators were men that were running for the same post as you, go at 17. But when we look also deeper, who is doing these things?
When you look deeper, mostly it's men. It's men that are doing that because they know the weakness of women. When you are tainted, we fail to rise up. So they usually do it so that they frustrate us and it affects our mental health. Because I'll be always thinking about, but why is this person going this far? During the process, I will lose interest in many things.
Donna?
She said it, man. But allow me also to just pull in other females into the mix. You see instances of body shaming. You see that some of the people that will be vocal about it are some other ondombo, izimbogo, whereby we're supposed to be standing together. You know, for something, maybe if I can just bring in something, right? Well, currently, in the season, I struggle a lot with psoriasis, right? It's autoimmune condition, right? So maybe you might find that I've got more patches, and then, so, you know, a post that is showing maybe some places where I've got patches, you find that, exactly, you see that, uchile. Wenzani ube bleacher, you know, and then you find that even amongst the whole huhura, the conversation, it's ondombo that we should be standing together, right? Because we understand that, you know, the challenges that we meet. Sometimes it's post-pregnancy, you find people just going for you, but we're ladies. We know the challenges that we have, the struggles that we have. You know, your body's not going to be the same after giving birth. That's the thing. Very true. So ondombo they're there. The ladies are there in the mix, and also just caucusly human beings. You know, for me, I'm one person who always says, you know, the golden rule is to do unto others as you'd love them to do unto you. And if you do something, why are you doing it in the first place?
Right. Very true, Donna. You know, at times we think it's the others that are doing it. And I raised this question because I was thinking maybe someone is watching and they're thinking, but lati as well, we attack each other. And it is still not right, and it is still a crime. Now, Councillor, as umama, let's build our our safe online spaces. How can we make our spaces safe?
I think as I am in leadership, we need more capacitation so that as leaders we know how to react and protect ourselves. Because these things, they affect us. We see the number of leaders reducing every year. We don't even check what is taking place, but some of these things, online attacks, are affecting us. I enjoyed Ulizwe enika example yokuthi ubaba nxa ejola uright, umama ma Give an example of myself. I'm very single with 3 children. Never been married. Umuntu abengikhangele laphana esetshenziswa ngubaba uyathelana liwule. I've been called iwule by my own fellow colleagues abomama besetshenziswa ngubaba. And angibazondeli. I always tell them ukuthi let's learn to support each other because these men use us to hate each other and to hate each other. Ubaba mayikhuluma mina kangihethi kakhulu but nxa sokhulunywa ngumama kuyangiqeda phela amandla. You understand? So they use other women ukuthi basithwalise nzima on WhatsApp ukuthi avele lidwa njani ngumuntu ongayendanga ihule lake lezo ukuthi indoda yakhe ngubani enxa ngiyolithathela amadoda yini. You understand? What special is it about them belama girlfriend angu 2000 because they have the cash? Mina ngalelwe ngubani ukuthi ngenze mfuna ukwenza on my personal life then on my duties ngiyabe ngenza proper things. So I think to women out there, we need to support each other. Don't take anything against any other woman. You should check who's telling you it's a man. We should check ourselves. Ukuthi nxa ngitshelwe information ngomunye umama, mina personally I have nothing to say about any other woman ukuthi ngingathunywa loba ngubaba ukuthi ngikhulume kubi ngayi ngeke lobe ngwephathe ngaso yami lobe ngaso mngane wami because I need to protect her. I know from where we are coming from patriarchy lama attacks lawa kungahlangana vele asikho.
Donna, how can we make our online spaces safe?
I think being vocal about these instances izinto lezi ezenzakalayo. Umama ekhuluma lapha, I just remembered something. There was a time whereby, just before I would go on air, it's like this person, why timely, I'm going to send a message to her. And then when I'm saying that information that you would share with your intimate partner, everything to the nitty-gritties, he would explain, I'm like this. I'm thinking about you as you're doing your show, know that I'm waiting for you. Isn't that? I know it might come off as a joke. But to me, at one moment, I'm naked. What would give this person confidence to say isn't or isn't that? And then I realized, you know what, instead of just passing it off, I should have just been vocal about it. And then my systems, I'm saying, you know what, this thing is happening. Can this thing be controlled? And also talking about the importance of educating people. I think a wholesome approach from the education system right now. We are not running away from the internet spaces by a long shot. So in as much as right now we are advocating young people, we are being vocal, they're being taught about their sexual health and reproductive rights. Let's also talk about these things. Teach them young, this is not right. For you to be posting or commenting or abusing people just because maybe they are female or you feel like you're in a powerful position, akusiko right. And even when we target young people, in our community meetings, in our gatherings, we'll a men's meeting at church, we'll a men's meeting out there in the communities. Let's talk about these things. Let's go up front. This is what is sexual harassment. This is what is gendered online violence. Let's just go all out there. And also one thing that I've also noticed online is that you have some bigger platforms, reposting, liking and commenting on ama posts one allow that are degrading women. And some of these things, really, there's no evidence that supports that. I know when you're a reposter, you're going to get more likes, you're going to get more comments there, more activity in your group, but at what expense? So I think even people that are in positions of power, influence, you've got a lot of followers, I feel you have no business in retweeting and reposting izinto unless that are degrading women in one way or the other, or anyone for that matter. So don't support that kind of behavior, and don't be a bully. Don't initiate those things. Don't push around amaromas. I've got a personal, you know, I think principle that if I understand, to step away until I research and I'm confident about it, then I can talk about it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately nowadays, iculture sikhona ukuthi ngiyezo umakhelwane kamakhelwane ekhuluma ngento le hayi liqiniso ngimzwile vele liqiniso leliyana. No, we no longer read, we no longer research and have enough information. So let's not be perpetrators and let's not encourage that behavior.
Yeah, Jamila, as we wrap up, before people think Uguti, because I used a pseudonym, or because I'm not in Bulawayo, I won't be caught. Maybe if you can respond to that, Uguti, are these people caught? Is it possible to catch them? And then you can give us your last word on the law in terms of gendered violence. What now from here?
Thank you. Indaba nxa ungacheka even on our mainline media or even on social media, we read about a lot of cases of people who have been arrested, we have been brought before the courts, we have been even convicted for cyberbullying. Speaking also as a former judicial officer myself, I can safely say I once dealt with a case where someone was being charged under the Telecommunications Act for insulting someone through a WhatsApp message. And I remember convicting that person and ending them a sentence that was in line with the law. So it's possible that people get arrested. The issue of hidden identities, remember, investigations can actually pinpoint exactly where someone was sending messages from. The issues of IP addresses. So investigations can also be as sophisticated as the commission of the offenses. So now we have investigating arm is if it's equipped to detect crime, because it's about detecting crime, also being able to investigate thoroughly. They can also even unmask these identities that are behind them. Although it might be very difficult, but there's a starting point. Like I'm saying, you can actually amass some of these identities. Or in some instances, these are identities that are known. Some people are just known. This is so and so's Henry. It's then an issue of whether they are able to say, no, it's not actually me, and there's evidence to the effect that they are not them, or it's a part of the account and things like that. But now where we actually know the persons that we are dealing with, if it's a WhatsApp message, normally it's carried by a phone number that is verifiable. In terms of service providers can verify the number, unless maybe some problem is also when we're talking about WhatsApp, you find people, if they cross the borders, they get some foreign SIM cards. WhatsApp is supported even through those SIM cards, and it's not necessarily supported by a local number. Sometimes we had those challenges. Issues to do with Facebook. Facebook accounts can be opened. People can open those Facebook accounts even using those pseudonym. But sometimes when you look at beyond the opening of these Twitter accounts, these Facebook accounts, they are backed by an email address, which can point to the user, the name of the person actually. So there could be some. So investigations can be done, and to also give hope to victims. Like I said, I gave an example that I actually dealt with a case that dealt with cyber bullying, and someone actually faced the wrath of the law. So it's possible, it's doable. But in terms of creating safer spaces, I cannot put it much better than Donna put it, to say, let's denounce it. You can't be a perpetrator. If once you see a message that you cannot verify doing the rounds in WhatsApp groups, you cannot click the forward button. You rather delete, and you can't just be a generator. And also, you sometimes you're in these WhatsApp groups where these misogynist conversations are happening, this body shaming, and once you, as an individual, you find fun in that, and you draw some entertainment out of that. Ask yourself if you are actually very normal in terms of how your brain is wired, because obviously it doesn't. It starts with you. So to create safe spaces, it starts with you as an individual. Speaking out, this platform also. Thank you very much for bringing this platform. I'm sure one or two persons listening would start thinking and reflecting to say, okay, maybe what I've been doing I've been maybe on the sideline, just like watching people. Speak out if you're for a position of influence, like Donna speak it. Speak out about engendered online violence. If you are someone who commands a social following, speak out against that. Don't be the perpetrator, because the problem then, we have a problem then when we find people that were up there, these socialites, being on the upfront in terms of perpetrating these stereotypes and this engendered online violence. That's sometimes a bigger challenge, because then once they say things, they influence a lot of people that follow them. So as I'm winding up, I think the law itself also is actually a safety net that is created by authorities. Let's utilize it.
Well, thank you so much, Jamela, Donna, and Councillor Moyo for joining us. And thank you so much to MISA Zimbabwe together with SITE. I hope that we rally behind these organizations in spreading information about gendered online violence. And also remember, don't be part of gendered online violence. As Jamela put it, you don't want to have people questioning how your brains are wired. Otherwise, from myself, Nonhlanhla Mabdiwa, and our guests here today, thank you for joining us.